All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the first May Family Wellness Workshop. This one is also involving conscious discipline and I love you rituals. And my screen is frozen. There we go. So just briefly, I'm with the Child Care Resource and Referral Network, and we are part of the Child Care Resource and Referral statewide network. And these are some of the services that we can provide, including workshops such as the one that you're attending right now. My name is Sarah Lane. I'm the bottom one, and we all serve a 27 county area, including several of the counties that the Parkview Health Network is in. This is being recorded, but I am always interested in learning about your experiences, anything that you would want to share. But knowing that you would be speaking on a recording, I completely understand. I will always make sure to turn the recording off at the end of the workshop. And so if there's additional questions or anything you would like to share off the recording, there will be time to do that at the end. So welcome. So like I said, today we're going to talk about conscious disciplines, I love you rituals, and how those rituals can foster connectedness with your children. So if anybody is comfortable sharing, you don't have to, but I'm just going to give a few minutes. If you are willing to share, I'm curious if you attended either of the two workshops in April. If you're willing to share the ages of the children in your family, and maybe something that you're hoping to learn today. So feel free to unmute yourself and share if you would like. All right. I am going to keep going. I hope that everybody can hear me okay, but I don't see anything in the chat. If for some reason you have a hard time hearing or you have any questions, but you don't want to unmute yourself and speak, feel free to put something in the chat and I will keep an eye on that. All right, so I love you rituals. Oh, let me see. Oh, wonderful. Okay, Jessica, 5-year-old daughter and 7-year-old stepson. So you have your hands full. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. So I love you rituals send messages of unconditional acceptance and love to your children, which I really like this quote from Dr. Becky Bailey, who she's the one that created conscious discipline, and she wrote, she's the author of a book called I Love You Rituals. And really all children and all adults, that unconditional love is something that we all seek and hope to give. So we're going to talk about connecting with our children through I Love You rituals. And the way Dr. Becky Bailey lays them out is they're very, she calls them delightful interactions and games, finger plays that you can use with children. The ones I'm going to show you today are geared more towards infancy through 8 years of age. But being playful and silly and making eye contact and connecting with your children is important at all ages. And I've actually done some of these or modified them a little bit with my teenage daughter. So they can be fun for everybody. And actually, I should add just a little bit of background about me. I have been in early childhood education for about 20 years, and I've got about 10 years of experience as a social worker prior to that, working with children and families. And I am a parent of three. My children are 23, 19, and my youngest is 14. So I am in no means an expert in all of this. I'm learning and growing every day from each of my children. But I have also learned a lot as a parent. And I hope to share some of that with you all. Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So hoping to learn good ways to better connect to our current daughter and to initiate connection to our new children. That's wonderful. And I Love You rituals are great for that. All right. My screen keeps freezing. I apologize. All right. So why is connection so important? I mean, we have an overall sense with family connection is important, but really all learning also begins with connection. And it comes down to brain development and those neural connections within the brain, and the more connections that are made, the more learning that takes place. And really, the I Love You rituals, which are loving and healthy rituals, foster the development of emotionally healthy children. So I Love You rituals is a great way to really create and build those rituals with your children. This is the book that Dr. Becky Bailey wrote. And the rituals that she has, I'm going to show you some of them and where to find others. They boost the brain potential. They encourage cooperation and caring. They promote learning and literacy. They increase attention and decrease power struggles. And they build bonds of unconditional love. And a lot of research has gone into this also, as well as the whole conscious discipline framework. So there is data and research behind some of this. I'm just going to check out this chat really quick. Oh, that's totally okay, James. I completely understand. So I hope, yes, these are great with 2-year-olds also. Okay, come on, screen. Why does it keep freezing? Okay, so there's 4 goals of the I Love You rituals in conscious discipline. The first one is really about brain development and brain states. The connection and bonding strengthens the dopamine systems in children. And that's what helps their brain to be successful in school and really in life in general. A lot of that executive functioning, focus and attention, as well as social development and emotional health. Okay. I have 2 girls and a boy. You've got the flipped. And you homeschool your children. Good for you. You are very brave. Okay. The second goal, they increase learning potential and effectiveness through touch. One of the things I'm going to talk more about in our workshop in 2 weeks is about sensory play. And one thing that we know about how children learn is the more senses that they use, the more learning, the more connections that are taking place in there, those neural connections that are so important, and the more learning that takes place. And touch is the only sense that we cannot live without. This goes into that a little bit about the nerve growth factor. When you think about children, I think places like orphanages tend to be healthier now. But when you think about orphanages 100 years ago, they've done, studies about infants that don't receive human touch and literally have failure to thrive. So this hormone is essential to neural function and learning. And so to have smart and happy children, appropriate caring touch is necessary. And that's one thing that I Love You Rituals incorporates. They hold families together even through the roughest times. With my youngest, my 14-year-old, things are still very rocky with her, just as a teenager navigating the world. And having times where I'm just intentional, making eye contact with her and being affectionate, and whether it's doing a ritual, an I love you ritual, or just being connected with her, really does, it really does help when the boat's rocky. Having that strong connection really does make a difference. This putting life in focus, shifting our attention from getting ahead to getting together, from valuing material wealth to valuing one another. There's lots of great things that come from those loving rituals. And then, yeah, strengthening the bond between adults and children. There's a lot of scary stuff out there. Teenagers today, in particular, well, and sometimes even younger than teenagers, there's a lot that they are going to have to face. And having secure attachments, and having a strong bond between you and your child or your children, really does insulate them from some of the scariness of the world. So getting started, the purpose is always to connect. It's not to do motions the right way or say exactly the right words, but to just connect, have fun. They're meant to be fun, laugh, sing, even if your voice is terrible, and just be in the moment, be present, and be yourself. There's 4 elements of connection that these rituals that I will show you incorporate, and in creating your own, which I'll talk briefly about, incorporating these 4 elements of connection are really important for making sure that you're getting the most out of those moments with your child. That's eye contact, gentle touch, presence, and playfulness. Sometimes playfulness is a great way to just do a pick-me-up for your child. Sometimes, listening and being empathetic is what they need, but sometimes just being playful and being present with them and laughing with them can make a big difference. This says gentle touch. One thing I'll just say really briefly about that is like tickling. There's some controversy about that, but that's not necessarily gentle. The child may be laughing, but it might not necessarily be something that they are enjoying, and it might not necessarily be something that they would do consensually. It's something that adults do to children at times, especially the older children. So these don't necessarily incorporate things that you just do to children in a way such as tickling, but more of like that gentle, loving touch. And then consider the time and place for I love you rituals. With older children, like with my 14-year-old, they tend to be more spontaneous because she doesn't necessarily want me to do a daily, she doesn't necessarily need a good morning ritual to get her started in the day. She really doesn't even want to talk to me in the morning, and that's fine. She might not necessarily, older children might not necessarily want a bedtime ritual, but younger children can really thrive on that, especially if you have children that go to childcare or maybe have a babysitter for a night out. Having a goodbye ritual that they where they feel connected with you and they know what's going to happen can really make a difference during some of those periods of transition. So these are some I love you rituals that are in her book. And I'm going to show you 3 of these today. And then I will also tell you that pretty much any of these, if you just go to YouTube and look up conscious discipline, I love you rituals, you will find a lot of videos of all of these and more that parents and children create together. A lot of these you'll see being done in a classroom, but they're definitely, these are wonderful things to do in the home, and the examples that I'm going to show you are all taking place, and well, except for one of them in a home. So the first one, a wonderful woman who lived in a shoe. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the original nursery rhyme. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She, oh gosh, I don't think I can recite the whole thing off the top of my head, but somewhere she whipped them all soundly and put them to bed. And as parents, a lot of us have felt that way, where we're just tired. We're so tired. So I understand the nursery rhyme, but this is just kind of a remake of it. And there's some movements that you can do when you say these words. So she had so many children, but she knew exactly what to do. She held them, she rocked them, and tucked them in bed. I love you is what she said. So this is an example of that being done in the home. And if you can't hear, let me know.
We're going to do our I love you ritual called There Was a Wonderful Woman. There was a wonderful woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she knew exactly what to do. She hugged them, she rocked them, and she put them to bed. I love you, is what she said.
So I love that example. I will say that the girls they're being very serious because they know that they're being filmed. But I can imagine with children that age that would end up being a little bit silly, and there might be some laughter, which is awesome. And if you notice the parent is making eye contact with them, the parent's right at their level, the parent is present, although the parent is recording. And there was some gentle touch. The next one is Twinkle Twinkle. This one's probably one of my favorites. Again, this is a very familiar song with the words changed just a little bit. There's a great video if you're interested in learning more about conscious discipline. There is a Facebook conscious discipline page, and they post I love you rituals and all kinds of great videos and resources on their Facebook page. And there's a really cool video of a sibling group from a school ager to like a toddler. I think there's about four kids, 4 siblings that do the Twinkle Twinkle, which is a really cool video. So if you're interested in kind of checking out more, I would encourage you to go to Conscious Discipline's Facebook page. Here's a video I found.
Hello, boys and girls. We're going to be singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Grab a partner to do it with.
You ready?
I am, and I hope you guys are too.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, what a wonderful child you are. With bright eyes and nice round cheeks, a talented person from head to your feet. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, what a wonderful child you are. And yes, you are wonderful.
Bye.
Hello, boys and girls.
All right, and the last one is it's Georgie Porgy. And you can also do a female version of this, which is the same words, except it's Margie Pargie. And this is being done with, looks like maybe closer to a toddler, somewhere between an infant and a toddler during diaper changing.
Do. All right, ready? Georgie, Porgy, pudding and pie, gave his teacher a big high five. With his teacher he loved to play. A gift of a smile he gave each. Oh, your mouth went like this. He gave each day smile. Oh, and your mouth opened like this. And your hands were here. Now I'm going to put gloves on and change your diaper.
And I like this example because it shows how you can make this ritual your own. The little boy, I believe it's a little boy, was familiar with this ritual because I don't know if you could hear through Zoom that he was saying some of the words with her. She changed out the word friend for the word teacher. So she's his teacher. You could change that out to say gave his mom, gave his dad, or even a sibling. The way that she really, there was lots of gentle touch, eye contact, playfulness, and she encouraged him to give a smile, which he did at the end. So those are 3 examples. And there's, like I said, there's a ton of videos. If you go to YouTube and look at conscious discipline, I love you rituals, and you'll find lots more. So how to create your own I love you ritual. So think about a song, a poem, or a chant, or even a playful game that you already know, or maybe that you already do with your child. And think about if it is an I love you ritual, does it have all those elements of connection, or is it something that you can add some elements of connection and make it an I love you ritual for your child? So kind of the components of that would be singing or saying the words. I had done this with my children when they were really young. I redid some of the words to You Are My Sunshine, and didn't even realize it, that I was creating my own, in a sense, I love you ritual. So sing or say the words, and then add motions that include those four components of connection. So that would be the make sure that you have the eye contact, and include some components of touch, whatever makes sense with the words that you're saying. Make sure that you're playful, and make sure that you're fully present with them. And remember to really engage and connect, that it's not about saying certain words right or about doing certain movements right. It's really about just really engaging and connecting. And if it's something your child enjoys, build it into their daily routine, whether it's, getting up in the morning, or sitting down for dinner, or bedtime, or whatever time of day, or maybe it's in the car, whatever time of day that it makes sense for you and for your family. And then keeping in mind that when you are connecting with your child, you're building meaningful moments, and you're literally building the framework and the foundation for their brain that will carry with them throughout their lifetime. So I would love to hear if anyone would be willing to share if they have any rituals like this that maybe they do already, or maybe some that that you may be thinking, yeah, I do that. I could add some, touch and some playfulness, and it would be an I love you ritual. Or if one of the 3 that I showed you is one that you think that your child might like, that you might try. Is there anyone that would like to share? And then I'm going to turn the recording off and see if there's anybody else that would like to share after the recording is off. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.